So, I chose to make this video for a couple of reasons. I was thinking about my different forms of, I guess, depression. I'm not sure, whatever. Where you kind of feel irritated with the day, or as things, go by, you just kind of get this frustration that turns into sadness, that turns into acceptance. Well, first denial and then acceptance. And I've noticed whenever I have those feelings, they tend to go away after, you know, sometimes a few hours, a day, a week. I don't think we've had a month yet. Point is, it subsides eventually. That's kind of how I've always kept it in check. But one thing I always wondered about, as far as, you know, it's so frustrating to get frustrated about the different, I guess, things in my life that I don't like. And part of the reason why it frustrates me as much as it does is because a lot of people would say, "Oh, you're healthy, you can walk, you're not homeless," and that's true. And that's why it's irritating to me because it's as if you have this almost perfect life. Where you're a healthy person, you have a house. You're not rich, but whatever. And if you just had these, two, three, four other things among all the other things you have, that at that you feel you've had no control over, you just kind of it all fell in your lap, and you're working for these other things, and it won't come to you no matter what you do. Um, Case in point, you talk about I've spoken about the whole girlfriend thing and how it's something that I really at this point don't feel any type of guilt for. I mean, when I was younger, I would always say, "Oh man, if only I were a little bit more athletic. If only I were a little bit more, handsome. If only, if only the genes had swinged in my favor. If only I was blessed with good looks." But I really, because here's the thing, I can, be whatever I want, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be the woman or girl or whatever you want to refer to her as, the female or the person I'm interested in, that has to accept me. I can't make them accept me. That's kind of where it started to just draw the line of, okay, how much of this is my fault and how much of this is just, I mean, there being no possible way to attract this person. A lot of the women that I've met back when I was, um, I'm 18 right now, let's say 14. Well, they were girls back then, but the point is, all of the ones back then didn't find me attractive, don't find me attractive now. And lo and behold, the ones I found attractive back then, most of them I don't find attractive anymore. It's not because they're ugly. It's because of the way they act. It's because of the way they operate, the things they do, the things they say. With me, I always knew it was on a personality level. And I always used to justify it where I would say, okay, well, this person can do, has a few traits I don't really, I'm not that big on, but they're decent in how they look, and that will suffice because I can take these two or three redeeming qualities out of 300. Of course, I didn't magnify it at that point, and go, oh yeah, I like this stuff. And now with me, it's just like, no, I don't like that. And I'm sorry to go off topic, but that's an example of something I feel I can't control. I can't control who I see tomorrow, and you know what their reaction to me will be, as far as get like on first impression, or glimpsing at me for the first time. Um, Obviously, I can control how I dress. I can control all of that. That's the things on my end. But at this point, I don't care anymore. It's spend enough time getting depressed over that stuff and being all disillusioned with the dating scene. I still am to an extent, but if that was the one thing that bugged me, it definitely, if I had every other thing I wanted, except for a date, I mean, really, life wouldn't, And I know people will say money can't buy happiness, but a lot of this stuff, you don't need money to do it. You don't need any of that. You just need the willpower, I guess a little bit of luck. And I feel as if I've had the willpower. Some of the stuff I've been trying to do for the last year or two, three, and you just get to a point where if it doesn't sell or if it doesn't, attract attention, you just say forget it. I mean, I used to at one point when in my younger years, when I first got on YouTube back in 2008, I was 10 years old. I was so hoping that one day in the not too distant future I would blow up. I remember when I got my first subscriber. I didn't even have any videos. I almost fainted. This is back in old YouTube format where they would say, this person subscribed to this person, all that, and you see their picture. When I saw that person, I just was so amazed. And I wasn't making videos as often as I do now, but when that time period was going on, I did make them often enough. I mean, technology wasn't as readily available as it is to me now, so I didn't have a camera. I could just play anytime and just start speaking on a whim. My vocabulary wasn't as developed. The only thing that's really consistent is that back then I also wasn't blessed with good looks. But that's another story. The point is, at that time, the number one thing I wanted more than anything in the world was to have subscribers. I remember I used to just watch Fred, if anybody remembers that channel, and some other channels, iJustine and the Archfiend, and just watch them and go, oh man, I wish I had 1 million subscribers, 500,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. Flash forward to 2013, the end of that year, and I looked at my subscribers and it was about 50, 60. I gave up. I said, you know what? I've been going on YouTube and, again, I wasn't posting as readily, but I've been on here for years and nothing. And absolutely nothing. I mean, you get views on these videos, and then my favorite part is when you have that one guy that comes like, hey, if you want to get views, you just do this and this. Get out of here. But the point is, I quit for that whole next year and then came back at the end of last year because the election cycle was starting up. There were more things to talk about. I felt myself wanting to document my opinion and just, have it on record that I was actively involved with something that I feel did matter. And, that sparked the return that reignited the flame. And yeah, I've increased by double in subscribers since then, but I still don't consider that, a success. It's still a failure. It's still a YouTube failure. And that's not to say that anyone who has 100 or below subscribers is a failure. It's a failure for me because it's a goal I set for myself that I wasn't able to meet no matter my best effort. I remember when I put out my book a couple months ago, Citizen Justin was the first book. Man, I was over there promoting that on all these different websites. I was going on there, typing up paragraphs, going, it's about this, it's about that. You should get it for this, you should get it for that. And, you go and you get your sales back, and it's like, wow, I just wrote this for nothing. Um, and, people say, oh, you shouldn't write just to make money. But the point is, if you write something and a lot, you, let's say, make 100,000 from which, I could only dream of. You're doing that because you want, or at least with me, I wanted that, or would have wanted that, or, would have hoped for that, because it would have given me the idea or the incentive to believe that the majority of the people who read it or who bought it would have read it, or at least were supporting of what I was putting out. I had it at a price of $4. I didn't think that was a big deal. Bottom line is, it just didn't seem right to me that I put so much effort. I mean, I used to just sit here and for days just write outlines for each chapter. And for what? It didn't make sense to try anymore. It was completely a waste of time, and I regret doing it. I still like the fact that I wrote the story, but I regret even bothering the publisher. I regret going through there and looking for grammatical errors and revising it. I rewrote the whole thing at one point, changed it from third person to first person. And I just, at this point, I regret it. I wish I never did it. And it's not because of, I feel bad about my work. I feel bad about how it did on a fiscal level, because that was one of the major goals behind it, to get that story out, and it didn't get out. So again, these are what bug me and would lead me to depression. It's not about what you have, it's about what you don't have, and what you just have to do this. You just have to believe in what you're putting out. You just have to give it all your best. And I really felt as if I gave it all my best. I could just sit here, and I threw a couple of papers out, but there were just this stack of papers I was writing and notebooks where I would just scribble, on this chapter this person learns this, and it for what, for what. So that was the other issue. Now, I guess I'll expand a little bit more on the female thing. And, this is kind of where this whole whatever type attitude started. Back when I was in ninth, 10th grade, man, if I thought I was attracted to a female student, I mean, I fell in love hard. I would go and say, "Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so wonderful." Just sing you praises. And, it was the only time where I was really into just one person. And after 10th grade and the no thank yous that followed, I was all over the place. I was everywhere. I just completely stopped even, being invested in one person, because it really softens the blow when you know how it's going to end. I mean, I go into this stuff now, and if they don't show interest after, say, a week or two, I just say forget it, because you're not going to attract them. This whole little thing of, oh, if we just continue being friends for month after month after month. I've had them say that to me. And then, next month they have a boyfriend, or next month they're, saying, oh, I don't want anybody right now. And then, you go on their social media account and find them all hugged up with some mysterious gentleman. This is not new